Well, good morning. As you're coming into the room, we're looking forward to several people joining us. I will ask, if you haven't already done so, please make sure that your camera is turned off and that your microphone is on mute so that we have as few interruptions as possible and not a lot of distractions going on. If you missed yesterday's session, oh my goodness, what an amazing kickoff to our event. Catherine Dean and Monica Bro literally blew it out of the water. It was an amazing 2-hour session with two women sharing their own personal stories from tragedy to triumph and how they had an opportunity to overcome limited thinking, to reshape the way they saw their future, and then to pursue that future with passion. We will have the video posted later today, and for everybody that signed up for the event, we will be sharing those links. So if you did miss yesterday's session, you're going to have an opportunity for the next 48 hours once it's posted to go back and to listen to that event. Let me also mention that as you are listening to this event, if you know other women financial professionals, or even if they're not a financial professional, but you think they would benefit from being a part of this summit, feel free to share the link and invite them. This is something that we are doing because we believe in empowering women here at Vision Advisors. We have a phenomenal staff. I'm the only guy in the office, so I jokingly laugh that not only am I surrounded by estrogen at home because all my boys are gone and I'm left with my wife and girls at home, but I'm surrounded by estrogen all day long when I come into the office. And it's a great environment to work. I've got some amazing ladies that I work with that do some incredible things, and as a result of that, it is just really, really a joy to work with them. The female advisors that we work with are some of the best supporters of their clients. In every opportunity I have to work with our female advisors, I love an opportunity to do so. We're going to be getting started here in just a minute. We're still letting people into the room. So as they're coming in, just be patient with us for just a minute. Megan is teed up, as you can see, ready to go. And we are looking forward to hearing her. And then in the second hour, we're going to be having Becky Bautz. Becky is a personal friend, and she's going to be speaking on how you can have an opportunity, even in the midst of COVID and all the other things that we've been dealing with, to be able to get in front of qualified prospects and have an opportunity to multiply your message. So again, as you're coming in, if you're just now joining us, I'm going to ask that you would make sure you're muted. Please make sure your camera's turned off so that we are not distracting anybody that is going, so that our speakers can be speaking and we don't see people moving around in the background. We would ask that you do that for us just as a courtesy for our speakers. And we're going to be getting started here in just a few minutes. By the way, you might want to go ahead and open up the chat box so that if you've got a question for any of our speakers as we're going along, please use the chat box to do that. Megan has already put her information in there on how you've got an opportunity to connect with her. And we'll be sharing some more about what she is doing and what she's got going on with the summit that she's going to be presenting coming up in July, I believe it is, Megan?
July 14th through the 16th.
And it's going to be an amazing summit. I know some of the speakers that are going to be speaking at that event, and it is going to be an amazing event that's going to be coming up. So we'll talk more about that as well. Well, it is the top of the hour, and I want to honor your time, and I want to honor our speakers' time. And we're going to jump right into day 2 of the Women's Empowerment Summit. My name is John Terry. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for Vision Advisors. Some of you may also know me as John Terry, the Black Belt Leader. I do leadership coaching and training as well, and work with a number of our financial advisors in that arena. We have opted to do this particular event to say thank you to the amazing women across the country that are making a difference in the lives of their customers every single day. You know, when I got started in this industry about 30 years ago, it was predominantly a male dominated industry. We didn't have a lot of females involved in the financial services industry and working in the area of financial planning. And my, how that has changed over the years. And it has been such a refreshing change to be able to work with women who love their clients, who love what they do, and who want to see their clients succeed financially. You know, one of the things when I'm coaching our women as advisors, and we're doing sales and marketing coaching, and some of the amazing things that we do here at Vision Advisors to help our producers not only get in front of qualified prospects, but to help them really find their voice, find their message, and identify who their target audience is, and help them to scale that to an amazing level. I love the fact that when I talk to a lot of our women advisors, they find out early on in their career that they don't have to overcome a hurdle that a lot of men do. Because when men go in to meet with clients, oftentimes there's an ego situation in the way that guys have got to get out of the way. And sometimes we have a hard time doing that. But when a woman walks into the situation and she has an opportunity to speak, she speaks from such a unique perspective. As she's talking to the men and the women, she immediately relates to the spouse in the scenario. And if there's a husband involved in the scenario, she can connect and engage with him on a personal level that really brings that family in and makes them feel so comfortable that it makes the transition into doing the planning much, much easier. So I applaud you, all of you, for the amazing work that you're doing. This event this week is all about saying thank you, sharing some amazing stories from some amazing individuals that have overcome tragedy and seen triumph, that have gone from rags to riches, that have gone from welfare to Wall Street. And you're going to have an opportunity to hear from them. You're going to have an opportunity to learn some additional sales tools that will help you continue to up-level what you're doing as a producer. And today we have with us for our first hour, Megan Johnson Zuccaro. I was introduced to Megan and we immediately hit it off. I love her story and I love what she's going to be sharing with all of us today on the call. Let me tell you a little bit about Megan. Megan grew up in Minnesota and was a journalism broadcast major from the University of Minnesota. She's a journalist, a TV host, and a virtual host of SoaringSummit.com. Megan, I'm sure we'll talk about that at some point during the day. Megan has also been working in and out of TV since she was 17 years of age. Home shopping model, to an assignment editor, to a reporter, to a news anchor for ABC, KAAL News. She's gone on to work with HGTV, with Bravo, with MTV, and she is a former Mrs. Texas. So this girl has a lot of accolades, and her sheet of what she has accomplished is pretty good. You know, Megan, I think back to when I was a kid. I had an opportunity to start in television when I was in grade school. Dad had a clothing store, and we started doing television ads. And I had an opportunity when I was in the fourth grade to start modeling and doing TV back then. And I remember walking into this studio, and it was a new set. And I was there to do my very first set of commercials. I'd memorized my lines. Dad had us all set up. Their company was called Poise-N-Ivy. If you think of today like a Men's Warehouse, this was kind of a precursor to that. And the Mod Squad was real popular. It was a TV show back in the 70s. And so my dad was there. The assistant manager of the store was a fantastic African-American young man that is just still a good friend. And then they had a young girl. And so they had what they called the Ivy Squad that came out, and they would do their Ivy Squad commercials. And I got to model the kids' clothes that they did in their kids' stuff. And it was a lot of fun back then. But to do what you've been able to do is something fantastic. Let me share you a little bit more about Megan. She loves sharing people's miracles and stories through in-depth interviews with Megan Johnson Zuccaro. This is going to be a new series that's going to be airing in 2022. Megan loves to incorporate Zoom training to work with companies to help their staff overcome the challenges of learning to sell comfortably over a computer. And she successfully helps people publish their books as an author, and then she also works with speakers to help them refine their message. So Megan, without further ado, I want to flip it over to you. I'm going to turn my camera off, and I'm going to pull my chat box up and look forward to hearing you share your story. Thank you for being with us. The floor is yours.
Oh, thank you so much, John. Well, I got to tell you, it's a riot because you said you went from all men. So now here you have all women working around you. That's absolutely spectacular. I love it. And so thank you so much for the introduction. But more than anything, I want to thank you and Kathy for inviting me to be here because it's an extraordinary group of people. And I also want to thank you for the book that you sent me because your book is amazing. I absolutely love it. So, you know, these are the kind of things that I enjoy doing this type of I enjoy doing speaking and talking with people because I get to meet extraordinary people like you guys. So today I'm going to share with you a little bit about coming and overcoming adversity. Now, it's going to be a little bit of a roller coaster from fear to faith to future, but I promise it all ends up okay. But first of all, I want to talk just a little bit about my past life. You know, I was in the financial services and I loved the financial services. And I always like to joke about something and make fun about something that has happened to me because I'm far from perfect and I have a tendency to make naive mistakes. And so, as you said, when I became a financial planner, I was the only female. It was very, very rare to have any women around me, except for my assistants. My assistants were all females. And we worked and we worked and we worked. And I was very blessed and very fortunate to be able to become the number one new agent, the number one new business, the most quickest promoted into management. But through this process, we would make phone calls, and you know how it is in financial planning services. You're making phone calls, you're getting clients, you're working to achieve those goals and help people achieve their financial goals. So one evening, me and my assistants, we would do pizza night. We would make phone calls and we would race each other who could get the most appointments, and we just would have a ton of fun doing it from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And at this point, I was in Clarksville, Tennessee. And so one night, I'm in my office. My girls are to the left of me. And they had given me my sheet of people to phone call. And so all of a sudden I'm dialing. And I called and I said to someone, I said, "Hi, this is Megan calling and I'm looking for Jesus." And I heard my assistants outside the room go, "Oh my gosh, no way." And I'm like, "I'm calling to see if Jesus is there." And the guy on the other end of the phone says to me, "I sure hope he's not here." And my assistant starts screaming, "It's Jesus, Jesus." Of course, a girl from Minnesota, I didn't know that. And so anyways, that was fun. I actually did help him get his plan set up, but I'll never forget that. And so, one of the things that I've learned from those experiences that I've had, just like when I was Mrs. Texas and ran into the curtain on my, when I was runner up, those experiences, you just have to step back and you can make a determination. You can, or you can't, or you can move forward. So that leads me into moving forward. I want to talk a little bit about overcoming adversity. And the last 3 years for me, 2017 to 2020, were extraordinarily crazy. I didn't even really realize it until I was sitting down with my paralegal, and she said to me, "I don't know how you get up in the morning. Like, I don't know how the last couple of years you've been able to survive." I said, "What do you mean? I don't understand what you mean." And she said, "I want you to write down everything that's happened to you in the last 3 years." And I said, "All right." I said, "I can do it." So I started writing down infidelity with my spouse, divorce, moved 7 times in 3 years, lost $7 million in properties for foreclosure, arrested, jail, bankruptcy. All of the things, repossessed car, my children moving with my parents for a period of time. All of these things that most of the time, one of those events breaks 2 of your legs, right? And I was reading this sheet of paper and I said to her, "Why did you make me do this? This is so sad." And she said, "Megan, because I don't think you even realize the drive and the determination." And I looked at her and I said, "Well, here's the thing. I'm not dead. I'm alive." And she started to laugh and she goes, "I guess that's the truth." She said, "But," so then I started to really think about it and I thought, what is it? Because it starts with fear, absolute terror that I had, absolute terror. My faith was what really truly kept me going. And I knew I had a future. And I knew that after going through all of these horrific things, and thank God it was not health related. Thank God it was not health related. I knew though I could get past them into the future. So I had 5 different things when I really went back and evaluated, because I found it really interesting that she really pinned me down on this. And so I went back and I started to evaluate what were the things and how did I function? Because there was a point when something is so bad and when you're just so tired, and every time you think, okay, I'm getting one step above, then another wave comes, and you go one step above, and there's something else hits you. And you literally get to the point where you're thinking to yourself, when is this all gonna stop? Anyways, I did 5 different things. I'm gonna talk a little bit about each one of them. Attitude, number 1. Control, number 2. Effort, knowledge, and faith. Those were truly the 5 different things that I looked at and I evaluated, and that helped me get through the adversity that I was going through on a daily basis. And I'm talking sometimes horrifically terrifying situations. So attitude, number 1, attitude is huge because you have a decision you can make that you can either can or you can't. That is a very simple decision, but you can decide in the morning if you're going to get up and have a routine. And what I did for myself personally, and again, I'm just talking about my personal thing. Everybody has their own version of this and how they want to accomplish and overcome their adversity. But I would personally get up and have a routine. I'd make myself get up at 5 in the morning, even though I didn't have to go anywhere. Make myself get up at 5 in the morning. I'd make myself work out. I'd make myself get ready as if I was going somewhere, as if I had something I had to do that was really important. That focus and determination and that attitude kept me going. I would wake up, I would focus, I would work out, I would pray, and I would start my day. Now, quite frankly, I didn't have anywhere to go for a period of time, and I was just at my house. But I treated that whole day, that 24 hours of what could I accomplish in the most positive way with those 24 hours, because I was healthy, I was alive, and I could make things happen. And so I just started to sit and create and think of what are the things that I can achieve based on my situation today. I think that attitude is a big game changer. And it's a lot of self-talk, like Catherine talked about yesterday, but it's a lot of self-talk, but it's also about gratitude, of being thankful for the little things, being thankful for the little things that you do on a daily basis. Whether that is just getting up early, whether that is working out, whether that is working out for 5 minutes, little steps to get to the bigger picture. Those are the things that really kept me going on a daily basis and having that routine. I think a routine and a purpose and meaning is so important when you're working with your attitude. The second thing is control. Control is a really difficult thing because I like to have control. In the last 3 years, what I realized is there's 2 types of control. There's the control that you have, that you're in control of, and then there's a second type of control that is the rest of the world. And you know what? You, as much as you think you can control other people, other situations, what's happening, it's just, you can't. You cannot control it, and you'll make yourself go absolutely crazy. So what I did is I put into my little 2 buckets, what is it that Megan can control and be a positive influence on? And what is the second thing that Megan has no control over? Reputation, what people are saying, what people are doing, what people are texting, what's on social media. My reputation was really super tarnished for a minute. And I went, and it was really hard for me to overcome for a time period of just really feeling let down, like I had done so well for such a period of time. And then all of these crazy things had happened to me. So I had to look within myself into that. What can I control? Well, you know what? I can control who I am, and what I believe in, and who I know I am as a person. The other things I can't control. Those are things that you have to put outside of the box, because if you are trying to worry about what the world thinks, it will make you absolutely crazy. You gotta just focus on what you control to make sure that you're happy within. Because when you can control, even if it's just a little tiny piece, even just inside your house, at your computer, those little things that you can control made all the difference in the world, because I felt like every day was one step moving forward to the next thing. The third thing is effort. Effort is key, because you have got to push. When it's the hardest, you push harder. And sometimes you think to yourself, I can't keep going like this, but you can never give up. And that, I know it sounds really corny, but it is really true. When you are in some serious adversity and you have the worst things that you can imagine happening in your life, you cannot give up, because if you give up, everything crumbles. And no matter what you are, who you are, and what you have going on in your life, You have got to know that there are people that are relying on you. You make a difference in every single person's life. Just like John says in his book, a leader is someone who leads and people follow. If nobody's following you, you're not a leader, just like John says. Well, here's the thing about that. I believe there, even when your family, within your family, even with your pets, you are a leader and you need to take responsibility for that, as small as it might be, as whether you're leading people in jail, whether you're leading people on television, whether you're leading people in your organization. That is something of huge responsibility. And I take it very seriously. And that's where it comes in, to have the effort to keep going. Because if you stop, just think of all of the people around you that are going to halt. Lots of people rely on you. And a lot of times people don't really think about that. They don't think that they're a true leader. But when you think about the people you talk to every day, the people that rely on you, the people that you motivate, the people you text in the morning to say good morning, the people that you thank for being your friend, those people, believe it or not, are relying on you. Those phone calls that you make to somebody when they are absolutely at a down stage, to say, hey, I just want you to know I'm thinking about you. You are a leader. You are having people rely on you, and you have to keep the effort up to keep going no matter what's going on. Now, that falls into self-care too, because that self-care comes from that attitude that I talked about, the first one of my number 5. The attitude is where your self-care is coming in, where you're making sure that you are keeping all the positive going into your head and you're pushing out the negative. And one of the things that I decided to do personally for a period of time is I just stopped looking at social media. I said, forget it. I'm just going to focus on Megan and what I need to accomplish, because I know what my future is. I know what the fear has been through. I know my faith. And I also had the most amazing transition because I've been a Christian all my life. However, I never really understood the personal relationship. And this gave me an opportunity to really learn about that personal relationship with God. And so that future seemed a lot better because I actually had like a best friend I could talk to 24/7, 24/7. And it made a big difference in my attitude and how I did the effort. And also how I relied on the control. The control is a huge thing, and you have to be able to separate in your life the things you can control and the things that you cannot control, because it'll make you much more at peace, and you're not going to have to worry about the other parts that you cannot control. You just have to push it out there and just have faith. It's going to work itself out. You do the best that you can do with the environment that you have. A huge one for me, number 4, knowledge. Knowledge is key. And you know, you're always learning. But when you don't have some knowledge and you don't have some experiences and you find out the hard way, like I did, knowledge is power. And so there's 2 things about knowledge. You want to learn as much as you can. However, you can't be an expert in absolutely everything that you do. You have to rely on people to teach you the things that you need to do. However, what I learned also the hard way was, even though there are some experts in some fields, they might not be with the same morals and values that you have. So I learned over this process that knowledge is key. Having the professionals and the experts around you are really important. But you have to be able to discern when it comes down to it. You have to be able to gather all of that knowledge information and say to yourself, okay, this is all of the information that I need to know in order to make this decision regarding a bankruptcy, regarding a foreclosure, regarding the redevelopment, regarding a reorganization. I had to bring all those people in, but then I said, okay, this is what Megan wants to do. This is how we're going to do it. And this is how I want you guys to assist me. Because in my past life, I would say, okay, got it. Roger, you tell me what to do and I'll do it. Wrong answer. Wrong answer. I decided that at that point in my life, I needed to gather the information, have the experts around me, but then I needed to discern and decide what are the places and what are the people that I need to be surrounded by. That was a big, big learning lesson for me. The 5th thing is faith. Faith is absolutely hugely important. And whether, I believe in God and I'm a Christian, whether it's the light, the universe, However, is your spiritual welfare and warfare is really important, because that is something that gives you that peace, and that meditation, that prayer on a daily basis for me was what got through it. And the personal relationship that I developed over this period of time changed my life forever. And I'm a firm believer in, and I always say it, and people say it all the time, God only gives you what you can handle. But there was a point when I was kneeling on my knees and saying, how much do you really think I can handle? Like, I'm like, literally, I can't even believe this is all happening to me. But you know what I realized? It brought me to a point where I wish somebody would have said to me, Megan, all you got to do is talk to God. That's what a personal relationship is. Because I would always say, everybody talks about, hearing God's voice. I don't ever hear it. Well, you know what? I was too busy. The world was too loud, and I was never still. And so what this adversity gave me was the opportunity to be really super still and listen. And it changed my whole perspective from discernment to decision making. So now I weigh everything that I do, and I really truly think about it. Before, I was like a shark. I would dive into the ocean and I would swim as fast as I could. Now I sit back and I say, okay, you know what? I'm going to evaluate this for a minute. I'm going to see all the players on my chessboard, because that's what life is it's almost like a game of chess. And I'm going to determine which one's going which way, how they're going to do it, and how that's going to affect me, because I can't control what those people are doing. I don't have the knowledge that they have in that expertise field, and I don't even maybe have the same attitude as them. But when I put all of those 5 things together for me, from attitude to control to knowledge to effort and to faith, those 5 things, when I really looked back and evaluated, as I was forced to do because my paralegal told me I needed to figure this one out so I could share it with people, I determined, wow, I actually put together a system out of necessity. And so I share that with you, and I share that message with you because everybody goes through adversity, whether it's something, a divorce, everybody's adversity level is different, and you can get through all of the adversity that you have. And the other really great way that I thought about it was, a friend of mine had told me, imagine if you broke both of your legs, Megan. And I said, gosh, that would be horrible. Well, just think about if you broke both of your legs. And I was talking about my adversity and how it's been going on, and I'm just getting past it, and I'm just so thankful. And they said, you break your legs, you can't even move for a long time. And then eventually you get some braces, right? And then eventually the braces come off. Eventually you're using crutches. Eventually you can walk on your own with a walker. Eventually you can walk. And so you see the process, what we're going through here. That's really how life is. How it's one step at a time, one day at a time, but keeping on track that these are things that it will pass. Time, the beautiful thing about time is it keeps ticking. The time keeps ticking, which gives us the opportunity to keep moving forward. And so as long as you're moving forward, and as long as you're taking one step, I don't care how small it is, I don't care how difficult it is, one step, 2 steps, 3 steps, it will make a whole difference in your adversity and what you're going through, because you will get through what you're going through, because that's just the way life is. It's either going to end, it's going to keep going, and eventually it will always end. But you will get through it, and you have to keep that faith. But you have to control the things that you feel comfortable with. I love the dream team. I used to play basketball in high school, love basketball. I love the story of the dream team, right? The most famous basketball group, Olympian dream team. And they thought they were just absolutely the best of the best. And I'm sure some of you have heard this story, but it's so true. And they went to play a collegiate team before they went to the Olympics. And they totally got their butts beat, 100% got their butts beat. And the level and the adversity and how they felt, they couldn't believe it, because they were the dream team. How could a college group beat them? That's absolutely insane. Well, you know what? It was kind of a little bit of a setup from what the history says, that the coach wanted them to realize that they were beatable. and they needed to focus on what they could focus on themselves. So he played down, you know, it's a college team. You guys are going to be fine. Don't even worry about it. Well, you know what? They lost, and it made them even more driven. So sometimes, again, like I'm saying, when you do have adversity in your life, it drives you to be better. I'm a much better person today and more driven, which is scary, but more driven than I was 3 years ago, because now I've taken control of what I can control. I've taken control of who I allow to be around me. I've taken control of when I answer my phone. I've taken control of the things that are in my possession that I can control. And it was a game changer for me. And so always when you think about the adversity that you're going through, you have to realize you got to put your blinders on for just a minute and realize that, number one, you're going to get through it. Number two, you actually have a lot of people out there that love and support you. And again, what I learned through my experiences, it is so important to reach out to people when they're going through difficult times. You know, when I was a financial planner, a big part of what we did was life insurance. And we were the ones, obviously, when somebody passed away, that we would be the ones showing up to resolve their life insurance, as all of you know. And I'll never forget, I would always say to the family when we were going through a crisis, I would always, you know, obviously it was horrible, but you know what I always did? I called them 2 months later. I called them 3 months later. I called them 6 months later. And you know what they always said to me? Wow, it's so nice to get a phone call from you, because now that the tragedy is over, we've kind of been forgotten about. And it's still so nice to know somebody is there. So I always say to everybody, you know, when you know somebody is going through a really difficult time, the best thing that you can do to help support and build those people up is to reach out. And it's a simple, hey, how are you doing? Kathy and I have a very good friend of ours right now that broke her knee, and she's in sitting. And you know, every day I try to call her. Every day I just say, hey, I'm just here to let you know I'm here. Hope you're having a great day. And I will tell you, from coming through an adversity, traumatic, horrific situation, that makes people's days. And you feel like there's still people out there that care and love you. So I try every day to think of somebody that I know might be going through something or worried about something, just to call and give them a little bit of inspiration. Because like I said originally, you are a leader and you have people following you, whether you know it or not. You have people, and I'm not talking Facebook and Instagram. I'm talking in life. You have people who are following and you're looking up to you. And sometimes you just don't realize it. And it's a big responsibility. And so you have to take it to heart. The other thing I want to say just real briefly here is, you know, God can move. There's sometimes things seem absolutely impossible. But you know, God can move the absolute impossible. And my kids were just visiting me a couple of weeks ago, and I was driving my daughter and her friend somewhere, I don't remember where, but I was getting out of the car and I was giving them both a hug. I was leaving them. I was bringing them to her friend's house, and I was leaving them and I was getting out of the car. I gave them a hug. And when I was turning back to go to the car, I said, bye guys, have a great day. I love you. When I was turning to go back to the car, I heard my daughter's friend say, man, your mom is so good. And because everybody knew what I had been through. And my daughter, as I was getting in the car, I heard her say, you know what, my mom was always awesome, but now she is really spectacular. And that to me was the future. That to me was all of the work that I had put in through all of the moves, the financial terms, the divorce, the letdowns, the arrest, the jail. I mean, all of those things, that to me was, wow, I'm now at the future. And I just say that because everybody can get through it. Everybody has different challenges. Everybody has different things that they're driven by. But please, no matter what you have going on in your life, someone's got it a little bit crazier, most likely. And there always is a way to move on and to get things going. And so I share that with you. And I always say one of my favorite things is, we're all here. We're all breathing. We're alive. And when we're alive, we have another day to make a big difference in people's lives. We have a time where we can help people achieve their goals. That's one of the reasons I love working with all of my speakers for the Soaring Summit, because I love helping people achieve what they want to be able to achieve. And someone said to me last week, actually, on one of my phone calls with them, they said, "Oh, are you kind of like a cheerleader?" And I started to laugh and I said, never thought of myself as a cheerleader. I was always like in sports, swimming, track, basketball. But you know what? For my speakers, I am, because I love watching my speakers become successful. And I love watching them achieve their goals. And I love it when they say to me, "I never thought I could do that, Megan. I never thought I could do that. Thank you for giving me the confidence." And I always tell everybody is special. Everybody has the things that they need in order to achieve the goals that they want. You just need to always know that you have to keep going. Keep the effort, keep the attitude, just worry about the things you can control, get the knowledge you need from all of the resources, just like all of the people on this phone call or on this Zoom right now, and keep the faith, and you will be able to achieve the things that you want to achieve and get through the toughest times. And when you look back, because time does heal, you will realize, wow, that was really kind of crazy, but I got through it. And it makes you stronger, bigger, and better. So I leave that with you, and I'm glad to answer any questions. And I really, really, really appreciate the opportunity to visit with you all, because it's just a story. That's all I can say. It's just, I've got a story just like everybody else. Everybody has a story. That's just mine. You all have a story, and you all have achieved amazing things already. So keep the faith and keep it going. Oop, I can't hear you.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Oh, I can hear you now. Perfect.
There we go. Fantastic. Yeah, my headset sometimes got to do a little extra tweaking there. But anyway, I just want to say thank you for taking your time to share with us and to really inspire us with some of what you said. For those of you that got your chat box open, if you want to share some love with Megan and just let her know you appreciated her sharing, please do that. If you got any questions that you want to throw her direction, please do that, and we'll cover those in this little time of Q&A. Megan, I want to start with a couple of things that I wanted to ask.
Sure.
Thinking back in your career from the financial services industry, if you could think back to a younger version of yourself when you were working in the life insurance industry and you were just starting out, looking at where you are today, what advice would you give your younger self just starting out in the financial services industry?
Oh, that's a really great question. So, I didn't talk that much about it, but I absolutely loved being in the financial industry. I loved it. The advice I would give myself as a younger Megan would be probably, for me, when I was in the financial services, I was very naive, and I'm a visitor, I'm a communicator. I love people and I love talking, right? So for me, it was a great. So, but then the knowledge part of it, I would have probably told myself to be more of an expert in the field. Like I became that in the real estate world. I became an expert realtor, an expert realtor, quote unquote, to the stars, whatever you want to call it. But I gained that knowledge through speaking on the road and through transactions and doing things. And I would tell myself, as a younger person, to have more expertise and more knowledge. And I'll tell you a funny story. So when I got trained, I was, of course, the only girl, and it was all men there. And so they kind of laughed at me in the sense, and they're all wonderful people, don't get me wrong, but they kind of laughed at me as, "Oh, what's this blonde gonna do?" You know what I mean? Kind of that whole situation. And so they would always tell me, "We've taught you everything you need to know, so you don't ever have to be nervous." Well, what they didn't realize is I was never nervous, right? I had a little bit too much confidence. And so they'd always say to me, don't be nervous. Don't be intimidated by these people, Megan. And I'm always thinking to myself, okay, whatever. And I'm like, "Are you sure I know everything? Are you sure I know everything?" They're like, "Megan, we would not let you see clients unless you had all of the knowledge and the power you need in order to get started." I said, "All right, let's go, let's rock and roll. So I have my first appointment, and it's like a colonel, a full bird colonel and his wife, right? Now, mind you, I'm what, 30? My first appointment. And I'm selling the whole program. We did life insurance, mutual funds, and banking. So I'm selling the whole program. We get everything done. He's ready to close it, sign it all up, and just make it happen. And he looks me directly in the face. And now remember, my bosses told me, we've taught you everything. If they ask you a question that you don't know, it's not important. That's what they told me. So, okay, so this colonel, nice man, looks me over directly in the eye. He says, Megan, I'd like to initiate this plan. The only question I have for you are, what are the expense ratios? And I look at him and I go, that's just not important. Nobody told me what an expense ratio was. And so I look at him and I go, that's just not important. And I said, but I go, let me just double check. But, in the meantime, let's just sign everything, get it going. So I walk out and my bosses are all standing there, and they're, because they had to verify that I had done everything correct before the client left. So I walk out and they said, and they like smirkingly said to me, so did they ask anything you didn't know, Megan? And I go, yeah, they actually did ask me one thing, but I told them it wasn't important because I didn't know it. They go, well, what did they ask you? I said, they asked me what an expense ratio was. They go, you told them that wasn't important? And I said, no, because I didn't know what it was. They're like, get back in there, tell them, da 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 da. So I went in there, I told them, but it was just kind of a funny thing. Again, that goes back to confidence and believing your mentors and believing the people who are training you with knowledge. So the other part of being more of an expert in that field and now I know nothing about that industry. I can't even imagine what it's like right now. My assistant who used to work for me, I told you the story, John, she's a very successful CFP up in Seattle. But the thing is I would become more of an expert and knowledge on the products, the programs, and, helping people with those things, obviously. And then the other thing is always validate, no matter who's teaching you, no matter who's training you, they can be wrong. Just always be discerning about the people you're surrounding yourself with. Those are the things that I would say, because those are the things still to this day, I would tell myself still to this day. I very much that way now. I was very, very naive, just confident with myself, and just kind of figured I could do anything. Ignorance is bliss in that case. And I'd say that about myself is that, nobody said you can't. And so I always believed I could. And that got me into some trouble because I thought I could just achieve whatever. But now I'm much more hesitant. Now I'm much more knowledgeable. Now I'm much more careful in all of those aspects, which is a positive because it doesn't bite you in the butt later on.
Yeah, I think I would use the word intentional, having spent some time with you, that you're much more intentional than just not like the bull running through the china closet. You're kind of more carefully picking your way through so that you don't wreak havoc as you're pursuing life. 100%. Now, same question. What would you say to the financial professional that is either stuck in their practice, they've been in this for a while and they're stuck, and they feel like they've hit that proverbial ceiling and they can't break through? And what would you say to the seasoned veteran that is seeking significance beyond the financial services world?
All right. Well, so first of all, I would say for the person who's been in the industry for a while and is seeking more with, depending on what you're comfortable with, if you're seeking more, there's now with digital marketing. I mean, I love Zoom. I love digital marketing. There's so many things that you can do to bring your clients further along with you on a platform. So if it was me and if I was a financial planner, still at this point today, I would absolutely be becoming the expert on some type of digital platform, whether it's Clubhouse. If you don't want to be seen, Clubhouse is an absolutely amazing platform, and I have invites if people need them, but it's an amazing platform for you to be just audio. And I was just listening to a Clubhouse yesterday. It's just massive. So I would do something that gives more value so that it's almost like, as that seasoned expert, that they're like, oh, wow, that's my financial planner. Did you hear her? Or I would do a podcast. I would do something that, floats your boat, that you like and enjoy. And whether that's podcasting, Clubhouse, YouTube, something that's going to put more content out there for you. Because still, if you're a seasoned person, you want to get more clients and get a new generation of people coming up. So I would do something like that. For somebody who's newer, I'm sorry, say it again. You want me to ask you newer?
Someone that was stuck, and someone that's a seasoned veteran looking for significance beyond the financial services industry.
Okay, so for somebody who's stuck, for somebody, I'm going to just make up a situation. For somebody who's sitting in a financial planning office right now, and they're trying to figure out how to get more clients. If you don't, depending on who you're working for, you sometimes have clients, you have to get your own clients. I'll tell you my secret if you're stuck. This is what I did, and this is how I became the #1 new agent the year I started. I did what we called a big lunch, right? I took, because our company philosophy was you take one person to lunch. Well, I decided if I can take one person to lunch, I can take 50 to lunch. So I would put together a lunch with 50 people, and it was like a buffet. It was really simple at a Chinese restaurant. And I would put together a lunch. I'd invite everybody. I'd tell everybody, just come for free lunch. Come for free lunch. I'm buying lunch, just come. I would stand up in front of the room just like I'm doing now, and I would pitch my pitch. And all I wanted from them was I wanted them to eat their lunch. And then I wanted them to come into the office and sit down with me for 30 minutes. That's all I wanted. And that was gangbusters for me, because even out of those 50 people, if I got 10 appointments, I just got 10 new clients. Because if they came into my office, I'd say 85% of them were going to start some type of a program. The other thing that was huge for me and a game changer, just being brand new, stuck, same type of situation, stuck or brand new, it's kind of the same thing. You're just looking for more stuff. Is I started everybody small. I was like, if I can just help somebody get the discipline to start, even if it's a smaller amount of money, even if they don't have lump sums of dollars, that is going to help them in the long run. And so I did more work because I helped more people start smaller programs. But that got me unstuck, because what happened was those people were so excited because they had a financial plan, right? And so they would go and say to their friends, oh my gosh, you don't have to have a ton of money to have a financial plan. You can get started with not that much money. And so again, depending on the type of industry you're in, I would recommend a big lunch. I would recommend smaller programs. Referrals obviously are key. But once that momentum keeps going, you're going to be busier than you can imagine. And now with Zoom events and online and all the things that we have, I could go crazy if I was in that business. I would absolutely, definitely take advantage of every single aspect of digital marketing, Zooming, everything.
One of the things you talked about, Megan, was the attitude. If I go back to your 5 steps, attitude, control, effort, knowledge, and faith. And you made a statement several times, and I made a note of it. You kept saying you can or you can't. Mm-hmm. Either way, you've made the decision.
100%.
One of my mentors, Chris Robinson, who's the executive VP for John Maxwell Enterprises, Chris has a statement that I love, and this is what he says. He says, it's not that you can't, but it's that you won't. And that choice is yours.
That is
absolutely. How many times do we find ourselves stuck, like what we were just talking about, because we get this mindset of I can't. And I remember Henry Ford famously said, whether you say you can or you can't, you're right. Because as we think, we become. And I love what you said about you can or you can't, but really you've got to make that choice. And it went back, and even when you got into effort, you went back to the attitude and how the attitude shaped your effort. And really where I'm going was you made a statement that says, I never thought I could do that. And how many times do we have an opportunity to help somebody realize, I never thought I could do that? You talked about starting just a small program and what that did for somebody.
Oh, and, absolutely. Yeah. That's what I love. I absolutely love it. I guess I am a cheerleader because I love sitting down with somebody and having my speaker say to me, oh, this is my ultimate goal. This is what I ultimately want to do. And I'll say, well, why didn't you do ABC? Why didn't you do EFG? And they're like, well, I'm kind of afraid. Okay, well, here's my thing on fear, right? And I've been in some scary, scary situations. If you have fear, here's the thing. If you have fear, it's going to stop you. But here's the thing, you are going to fail because that fear is going to stop you. Because the only way you fail, I believe, the only way you fail is if you don't try. And I mean, that's common. People talk about that, but you really need to emerge that and think to yourself. Like, for example, if I was afraid to talk today, right? And if I was afraid to get on this call with all these people I don't know, except for you and Kathy, you know, what would have happened? Well, you know what? I would have failed. I absolutely would have failed because I wouldn't have had the opportunities that I had to try the other way. And so what I always tell people is the work, I mean, as long as you're not doing something dangerous, you're not going to die.
That's right. Yeah. Laura just added to the comment here. She said, I'd rather fail forward. At least I know where I'm going to land.
Correct.
And, you know, Darren Hardy, who was the guy that founded Success Magazine, he's a success entrepreneur coach. He says the people that win at the end of the day, they fail early, they fail fast, they fail often, and they always fail forward. And there's great power in failure. We talked about that yesterday in the mindset conversation we had with Catherine and with Monica, is that failure is something that happens to you. It's not defining who you are. And one of the things we teach in the martial arts, those of you that may not know, I'm a two-time Martial Arts Hall of Fame inductee. So the joke around my house is when the girls introduce dad to a new boyfriend is, this is my dad. He punch, kicks, and kills people. And usually it's one date and they're done at that point. But, you know, what we used to teach in our martial arts classes was you're never a failure until you stop getting up. You're going to get knocked down in the martial arts. That's just part of it. But every time you get back up, you got an opportunity to learn what didn't work so you can work on figuring out what does. You know, and that's what failure can do for us. Yeah.
It's a cute story. This is kind of funny because I think sometimes, you know, again, fearless, you really put it well for me is that, you know, I kind of was a bull in a china shop. I didn't ever think about it. I just ran. I always say I jumped into the ocean and I was a guppy. But one of the things is, like I told you, I love track and basketball and sports always. Well, so we were in high school and we were at the state level. I'm sorry, this was for swimming. We were at the state swimming meet and I can't remember if it was the 50 or the 100, but I lost by like a tenth of a second. You know how it is in swimming, like you lose like by a fingernail. And I remember driving home and my mom, God love her, she was crying the whole way home and she was so upset because I had lost by a tenth of a second. And I kept thinking to myself, man, that's already over with. Like, what am I can't do anything about it. Like, I should have had grown my fingernails longer. I should have shaved my arms better, right? You know, it's a tenth of a second. It's like not going to define me my rest of my life. Well, so I didn't think anything of it. And so the next day I had basketball, obviously, because I was already late for basketball season because I was in the state whole situation for swimming. So immediately in the morning, I got up, put my uniform on, didn't think anything of it, and went to basketball. It wasn't until I was probably in my 20s when I got my first news job. And my mom told me the story and she said, you know, at that point in high school, I knew who you were. She said, because I couldn't get out of bed. I was so sad that you had lost. And she said, I woke up that next morning and I walked into your room and you were putting your basketball uniform on. And you said to me, are you ready to go? And my mom said, I remember thinking to myself, where did that come from? And I guess that, you know, whether you have that, whether you train yourself to be that way, whether you're born with it, you know, whether that drive, you can get that drive, whether you have it now or you don't. I really believe that. But you have to have that meaningful spirit of loving what you do. Like I always say, I'm excited every morning when I wake up because I know I have an opportunity to make things happen every single day. And you know, that feeling is then you're not really working. It's a way of life. And so that's really what I appreciate. And I always tell everybody that drive and the determination is when you have that meaningful situation. So if you're in a position where you're not feeling meaningful or you don't want to get up to go do what you got to do, you need to adjust it. because sometimes you're in a career or you're in a job that you have to have, but you need to like tweak it. Like you said, if you're stuck or if you're bored, tweak it so that you can throw in and sprinkle in the things that you like doing during the day. And it just depends on who you are and what your personality is. But sprinkle in some positive things so that you can enjoy it every minute that you're doing stuff as you're pushing through. I always say this too with me. I can't ever think of a time in my life where I haven't been doing two things. Meaning I had like a career, but then I was focused on, like when I had the real estate company in Beverly Hills, I was doing that, but then I was doing TV on the side. You know, then when I was doing news anchoring, I was doing my girlfriend's cosmetics on the side. I've always kind of had like a side hustle. And so I think sometimes when you're that, for me, it keeps things exciting. And I think people can think about that because now there's so many opportunities for side hustle out there of different things that you can do. Like I said, whether that's a podcast, whether that's YouTube, whether that's digital marketing, or it's an online marketing. I just think that, you know, throwing and sprinkling some different stuff in to mix it up, I think makes a big difference for people.
Oh, absolutely it does. Megan, we've got about 2 minutes before we're going to give the ladies a quick bathroom break before we get into our second hour. Take just a couple of minutes and talk about your upcoming summit that you've got coming up. I'm going to post the link. So if anybody wants to register for that, take just a minute and tell people what your summit's going to be about.
Sure. Well, so this summit, the new link isn't out yet, but you can look at the past one. This summit is coming up July 14th, 15th, and 16th. And what I do is I have 30 speakers from all different niches that we communicate for those from 9 to 2 for 3 days. And we get the contact information of all the speakers collaborate. And how I started doing this, my first one was in January. And what I realized when I immersed myself for 7 months into the computer, like literally when I say immersed, I'm talking 14 hours a day. I wanted to learn everything I could possibly learn about digital marketing, from backlinks to websites, because I've always been a firm believer and I need to understand it before I have people help me do it. Because if I understand it, and I was this way when I was a financial planner, when I was a mortgage broker, when I was a realtor, I wanted to know everything. And then I could have people help me. But then if something happened, I could still step in and fix the problem, right? So that's how I felt about digital marketing. And so after spending all of this time, I was like, holy smokes, there are so many cool coaches, people, niches, you know, all of these people online. And I thought, I'd love a buffet. If it was me, I would love a buffet of people that I could go listen to for 30 minutes, pick and choose, and then, you know, contact the ones I want to talk to, contact the ones I want to be involved with. So I just decided to do it in January, and it was a big success. The speakers all loved each other. They all got to be friends. They all still communicate. Now they're all cross-pollinating, and it's just really fun to watch. And I said, you know, I'm going to do it again. So now we're doing another one in July, like I said, 14th, 15th, and 16th. And I have another 30 great group of speakers, and they're from all over the world, because one of the benefits that I have found with Zoom and with COVID is I have friends from all over the world now, everywhere. And so it's just a great event.
Excellent. Well, we're looking forward to being a part of that, and very, very excited to have you be with us today, Megan. I want to say thank you for taking time just to share with us, and look forward to continuing the conversation with you. If you guys will, just drop Megan just a quick note in the chat. Tell her thank you for being with us and for sharing with us. You can give her a thumbs up if you want to do that with your little emojis there as well. So Megan, thank you again for sharing today. Great job, great information. You rocked it in terms of what you did. So thank you for doing it.
I was just gonna say, if anybody wants to get a hold of me, please just click on my little card there and feel free to contact me, call me, whatever. It's no problem. I'm 100% available to help.
Perfect. Very good. Well, ladies, we're going to take a quick 5-minute break, give you an opportunity to run the restroom, return a phone call, check your email. We will be back here promptly at 12 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Pacific, depending on where you are in the United States. You can do the math and figure that'd be 1 o'clock East Coast. And we'll be back for round 2. We've got Miss Becky Bautz coming in, and we're going to talk about how you can upscale and leverage your existing clients, have the opportunity to get in front of new clients using technology, or where you can, getting back out and having an opportunity to engage in live consumer events, to have an opportunity to share a message. Becky is a phenomenal speaker. We work with Becky here at Vision Advisors, and love the opportunity for her and her team to talk with you about what they do. So we will be back here in about 4 minutes and look forward to having you back. So stick around, and we've got another hour coming up. Megan, one more last time, thank you.
Bye.
Awesome job.
See ya.
We're about a minute out, so as you're coming back in from your break, thanks for being with us. And for those of you that have shared some thank yous to Megan for our first hour speaker, thank you guys for doing that. Very much appreciate that. She did an amazing job. Becky is in the house, and we're going to be pulling Becky in here in just a minute to get started as we get into hour 2 of day 2 of the Women's Empowerment Summit. We'll give you guys just a minute to finish up and get back in, and we'll be ready to start here in just a couple of minutes. Well, welcome back to hour 2 of our Women's Empowerment Summit, day 2. Again, Megan, thank you for a phenomenal job in kicking off our morning session and really talking about leading life rather than allowing life to lead you. For those of you that missed hour 1, we did record this as we are recording each session, and they are going to be recorded. If you registered to participate in this event, we will be sharing those links as they are made available. At the end of the day, we hand our video off to our production team. They go back and do the appropriate edits to clean up any snippets on the front end or the back end that need to come off. And then that'll be posted to our YouTube channel, and we'll be sending out a link so that you guys will be able to watch that at your convenience. I love the fact that Megan spent some time talking about the power of learning digital marketing and some of the other things. And that's one of the things we do here at Vision Advisors for the producers that we work with is we teach them how to be attractional. We teach them how to use digital marketing as an additional way to get in front of qualified prospects. And one of the vendors that we look to that helps us work with our producers in helping them leverage their business to identify those customers that they want to get in front of is Becky Bautz and the team at Leading Response. Amazing organization. We've had an opportunity to work with here for a long, long time at Vision Advisors. In the sales and coaching that I teach, one of the courses I teach is called the Attractional Advisor Model. And it's how to walk you through a process of learning how to identify the type of customer that out of all the customers that you work with, if you could pick one type of customer you wanted to work with over any other, we help you walk through a process to identify who that customer is, the demographics and the psychographics behind that customer. And then we help you build a marketing program to get you in front of more of that type of customer. Becky and her team at Leading Response help us as we develop that particular avatar model to use that in the marketing efforts that they engage in to help us help our producers get in front of a qualified prospect and to do so on a favorable basis. So, Miss Becky, lots of things I could say about you, all of which are good. Becky is just one of these phenomenal ladies that every time I need some help in the area of either digital marketing or seminar marketing, Becky's one of those resources I can go to that always has a good answer. But if she doesn't have a good answer, she says, John, I'll get back with you when I figure out what the best answer is. And then what does she do? She figures out the best answer and she comes back. And she has helped a number of our producers over the years see success in the seminar marketplace, as well as those that have wanted to jump in and do some things to add digital and to create really a hybrid model in their market. So, Miss Becky, without further ado, if you want to do screen share to share a presentation, you're welcome to do that. If you want to just talk to the audience, you can do that as well. I'm going to turn my camera off and give you an opportunity to take the stage and knock us out of the park with your presentation.
Thanks, John. I appreciate it. So it's a great segue because the last speaker we heard, she was great on digital marketing, and I have to say that one of the biggest changes that we have seen here in 2020 and 2021 was how all of us had to change and pivot into the digital world that a lot of us had no idea was out there to begin with, let alone how to really bring that into our own businesses and into the homes of our prospects. So I do have, let me share my screen here. I've got a little bit of a presentation and hopefully everybody can see it. If you can't see it, then let me know. But one of the big things that we've been working on here this year is the fact that we have a new normal. We have a brand new situation that has never taken place starting from 2020, and we all had to make the best of it. And if you didn't make the best of it, you got left out. So in the realm of the financial industry, for women specifically, we created a new normal. So just a quick introduction.
So Becky, we're not seeing your screen yet. So if you're sharing, we're not yet seeing your screen.
So I have let's see here. How about this?
There we go.
Great.
There we go. We're all good. Yep.
So my name is Becky. I am with Leading Response. I'm a national marketing consultant. I've been here for over 10 years. I work in the financial arena. I have worked with about 700 financial professionals in my career, and my job here is to consult. I love to be able to put the campaigns together. I love to be able to put programs together, but my sole role is to consult, to get to know you, to find out what your goals are, and how I can help you to meet those goals. Everybody's goals are different. Some people are great in front of a crowd. Some people like seminar marketing. Some people want appointments. Some people want to get into the digital realm. In this day and age, there's so many different programs and platforms that are available to you. It is not a one size fits all. So my job is to spend 30 minutes with you, find out what your goals are, what your production goals are, what your personal goals are, and then make a plan and a map. Just like you sit down with your prospects and you tell them to put together a retirement plan, my job is to consult with you and to help you put together a marketing plan. Marketing dollars are pivotal and they're sensitive. So for me and for you, it's not about you just showing up at a marketing company and having somebody taking your money and throwing something together. It's very important to know this is your goal and this is what we're going to do to take those steps to meet that goal. So there's a couple of things that we're going to talk about today. John wanted me to specifically mention industry trends. What has changed? So like we talked about a little bit, some of the things have changed. Some of them are static. We had a bunch of states, the economy closed down. We've got all sorts of places that are opening back up. So we're going to address a little bit of that. Direct mail is better than ever in many different facets. We went through 2020 where we had a total economic shutdown. Everybody pivoted to digital. You had all sorts of companies that launched webinars, digital marketing immediately. Within a couple of weeks, everybody was saturated with, we have the best webinars, we have the best digital, we have the best everything. And in essence, what happened was there was a lot of companies that came out too fast. They didn't vet the system. They didn't test the programs. The platforms were unstable. We as an industry came out so quickly that there were a lot of people that ended up doing webinars in the beginning. It didn't work. They didn't get in front of qualified people and they were totally burned and totally scared out of it. Now, literally a year later, we've got our markets opening back up. Prospects have not seen mail marketing in almost a year because they've been saturated on Facebook. So with live events coming out, appointment setting programs available, the mailboxes have been empty. So now mail is working better than ever. And we've got great women's events. So I'll bring that up as well as we go along. Facebook ads and landing pages. So as we know, we've all been in the digital space. We're all on our Facebook sites. We can all see all of the campaigns that are going on around us. Everybody's getting the ads in. What we like to do these days is we like to complement the mail with digital. Of course, you can do all digital marketing. You can do all digital seminar marketing. We've got appointment setting programs that work from all digital. But for us, you've got your population that has Facebook. Not everybody has Facebook, but everybody has a mailbox. And when you focus primarily on digital, you're missing a very large platform, a very large space. So for us, we like to keep you in both platforms, in both spaces, so that you have equal branding. But we've got great Facebook ads, we've got great landing pages. We have a digital sister company that is a $20 million company that is all digital. That's all they do. So with that being said, as we go through, I'll give you a little bit more information that's pretty cool about our digital. We have display ads, digital display ads. These are ads that do geofencing around a very specific neighborhood and home. Anybody within that home that is using any type of an electronic device, whether it is a laptop, a PC, a tablet, a cell phone. We can target all of their mobile devices with your message, and we can change up that messaging, give them all sorts of different appearances, just like you can see here. There's different banners, there's different events, there's different topics. And anytime they're in their home and on their mobile devices, they will see you. Driving appointments, generating new clients. One of the big messages that I heard from my advisor base throughout 2020, up until about a couple of months ago, was, we don't want to do any marketing. I'm working my current book of business. That's all I'm going to do is work my current book of business and generate referrals. That worked for a lot of people. I had advisors tell me they had their best year ever. I had some advisors say, I am just getting by the skin of my teeth. But universally, whether or not you waited, whether you've worked your book, whether or not you've gotten your referrals, the main theme that I'm hearing right now is, Becky, I need new business. I've done everything that I could with my current book. I've squeezed as many referrals as I can, but now I need to have some new business. What can you do to help me? So let me introduce some of the things that I've got to be able to help you now grow with new business for this year. Appointment Connect. This is our appointment setting program. It's targeted specifically to prospects around your area. Whether you have an office or whether you work out of your home, we can get prospects directly to you that are high asset individuals. You can choose to meet with them face-to-face. You can have a phone consultation, or you can have a virtual meeting. And everybody knows what virtual meetings are these days. We do that a couple of different ways. We have targeted direct mail. This is a sample of what we have for Appointment Connect. So we would put this specific invitation together. We would target it. Let's say you're in an office. We would find prospects that are around your office, typically ages 58 to 73. They have income producing assets of a minimum of 100,000 and up. But a majority of what we're doing is assets of 250,000 and up. And we invite those prospects to come and meet with you, like I said, face-to-face, virtual or phone, to have a financial review, second opinion, however you want to word it, in exchange for some type of a gift card, whether it's $50 up to $100. I would set the appointments for you into a calendar that you and I would discuss in advance. So that's part of this program. A couple of different case studies so that you can see. We've got this specific invite that went out. We mailed 10,000 pieces. We had 19 responders. We set 14 qualified appointments. That was a great campaign.
Hey, Becky, your audio's breaking up. You may want to turn your video camera off and then just focus on the slides. And that way we'll be able to hear you probably a little better.
Gotcha. Let me see if I can figure out how to do that here.
Yeah, just scroll to the bottom of the page. When the menu pops up, click on the little video camera to turn your video off. Yeah.
Scroll to the bottom of the page.
Let me see. I can probably turn you off here. Let me look.
Because I don't see that button from here.
Yeah.
There you go. So the next case study was San Diego, California. As we all know, California has been shut down for the longest period of time. And the programs that we had that worked really well out there, this was one of them. So we were able to drive prospects to the agents. Most of them were, as you can see, virtual meetings and phone consultations. And those agents out in California were still able to gain some new business and new prospects using this program. There's another program that will come across here in a second that also worked really well. Solution number 2 is our seminar success. These are live seminars that are taking place right now. And in our industry, the way we are with our personalities, we enjoy being in front of people. That's what we do. To pivot into virtual meetings and phone consultations, that was a whole new skill set that our industry had to learn, and did well. But now that states are opening back up, to be able to get in front of people and to have that one-on-one meeting with them, that's really what our business is about. That's how we develop the relationships. Live dinner events, that's always been one of the best ways to get the highest ROI. We do have educational events that have started. The educational venues have been shut down for the longest, but thankfully, the educational workshops are starting to launch. We've got libraries that are starting to open. We've got some colleges, some community centers. Those are starting to open. And from what we're hearing in the marketplace, the majority of the colleges are going to start opening here for the fall. So we think by third quarter, fourth quarter, the educational workshops are going to be back where they need to be as well. 42 states, we have live seminars, whether they're dinner seminars or whether they're educational workshops. We are open in 42 states, which is fantastic. Dinner seminars, here's some recent results on those from different states. Colorado, which is always a really tough state to get in pre-COVID, it's very saturated. You can see right now we've got a 1.29 response rate in Colorado, which is fantastic. All these response rates right here, Alabama, Florida, they're over 1% on the response rates. Your public and your prospects, they have been sitting tight. They've not been out. They were afraid to come out. They're not afraid anymore, and they're hungry for your information. We've got a new administration. We've got taxes that are starting to be discussed heavily. Those topics need to be presented to your prospects, and they want to hear it. And as you can see on these response rates, they're coming out. They're not afraid to come out to these group events to get the information that they're looking for. So what we have done, and one of the new trends for the pandemic and for our live events, is we are combining live events with virtual events. We call them the hybrid approach. What we do on our live events and what we did to start with, because the economy was a little bit unstable, when we came out with our live events, we had some states that would shut down in the middle of them. So what we did was we would put live events on mailer, but then we gave all of your prospects the additional option of a webinar. So you would have 2 live event dates, and then you would have a webinar date. That way you captured all prospects, that whether or not they were comfortable coming out or whether they were still uncomfortable coming out, they were able to get in front of you one way or another. As you can see from this, we have 30 webinar registrations from 8,000 invitations that were mailed. We have a partnership with Fleming's that no other marketing company has. If you're looking for a live event, you want to get in front of a high asset prospect, give me a call. We'll talk about a Fleming's. I'll do some market research in your area. I would have to do so, and we'll find out exactly what is taking place in your area. If people are coming out for live events or if they're still in front of the webinars. Either way, I've got the data, and I can help you make a very logical, data-driven decision on what is going to be best for your specific area and how comfortable those prospects are. Fleming, the relationship that we have with them, it is proprietary to us. We have fantastic food plate prices that you're not going to get from any other source except for our partnership. $25 savings per plate. Most of the per plate costs for Fleming's are $50 per plate, which is a 3-course meal. Right now, Fleming's for us, they're waiving their room minimums for our agents only. And the venue booking is done for you through the corporate level to secure those rooms for you. Solution number 3 is our Webinar Connect. And this is what we're most excited about right now because we've done a blend and the blend is working really well for us. We're driving chat traffic with multi-channel marketing. So you have your social media marketing, which has been out there for a couple of years now, and you have your direct mail. And what we're doing is we're now combining both. We're doing the social media to keep your foot in that platform, and we're driving direct mail. As you know, social media, you can get all the RSVPs, but there's an attendance problem. There's high attrition with social media. On the direct mail side, you've got a very qualified list. You've got high asset filters, and then you have very little attrition on the mail side. So how about the best of both worlds? One of the things we pride ourselves on, because of the volume that we do with Facebook, we've got multiple platforms with Facebook. We have the financial platform. We're also in senior living. We're in a legal space, and we do elective medical. And because the size of our digital, we are the only marketing company in the nation that is a designated marketing partner with Facebook. We have been given filters that other marketing companies, they don't have. When all of the asset filters and the income filters were removed in August of 2018, I believe, because we're a Facebook marketing partner, we were able to retain those filters. So the prospects that come in through our campaigns and into your room through Facebook, they are a high asset, good quality prospect. So here's where I think that we shine. This is the biggest change that we had within our company and within our arena from the pandemic, and it's worked out really well, and this has become a sweet spot. We have combined webinars with dinner seminar marketing. So you have the digital platform, but you have the high asset prospect that everyone wants to get in front of. So the ROI is high. It's a great program. I'm excited to be able to tell you about it. What we've done is we've taken a dinner seminar mailer and a dinner list. It's targeted 58 to 73, assets of 100,000 and up, with an income filter generally of 40,000 and up. We can target homeowners, we can target home values, we can get that sweet spot of prospect that you're looking for. And we can turn around and invite them to join you on a webinar and have a dinner delivered prior to the webinar. Everyone says, if I have a dinner delivered prior, what makes them stay? And here's the beautiful stats on this program. We have a 90% plus show rate on this program. The invitations themselves have been sitting close to, if not over 1%. on the invitations, but it is a 90 to 100% show rate on the webinar. Most agents are converting about 50% on appointments. So if you can actually get in front of 30 people, you're looking at about 13 to 15 appointments. The other beautiful thing is coming in through our RSVP portal, Prospect Connect, we're able to see the assets of each prospect that's coming in, where you don't have that when you're doing digital marketing. So through a list, we're able to upload the list. You're able to see the asset level of the prospects that are joining you on your webinar. In this situation, we had 37 million. Greenwich, Connecticut, we had 69 million. We had a 0.85% response rate. We had a 98% attendance rate on this webinar. With our webinars, we have our own platform. We do, and we set up the webinar for you. The only thing you need to do is provide a presentation, be comfortable sitting in front of a camera, and give me a solid 30-minute conversation with your audience. I don't say presentation, I say conversation. You need to have a 30-minute conversation with your audience. We handle everything else. We do the recording, we do the coaching, we put out poll questions, we put pop-up offers out, and we set the appointments for you during the actual webinar. Everything is done. The only thing you're going to do is have a conversation. All that is included in any of our programs where we're going to do a webinar, whether it's a live dinner seminar and you do a webinar on the event, or whether or not you're going to do a dinner delivery webinar, the recording of the webinar is included. Seattle, Washington, which we all know pre-COVID was as tough as a market as Arizona, Colorado. In this situation, they got a 100% show rate attendance. We had a 1.36% response rate on the mailer. 25 appointments were set. This was a great 6,200 pieces that were mailed, 25 appointments. To date, we've done 759 webinar events. We've had 21,000 registered households, 8,416 attending households, and 3,004 scheduled appointments. This right here, scheduled appointments in the middle of a pandemic with prospects that need you and need your information, can't beat that, not on scheduled appointments. So one of the things that I mentioned at the beginning is the fact that I'm a consultant. I'm not an order taker. I'm not somebody that you're just going to call up and I'm going to throw something against the wall and see if it sticks. One of the things that I like to do, like I said, is sit down with you, spend 30 minutes and find out what your goals are. Let's do an assessment. Let's find out how many open appointments you have available each week. What are your empty spots? Let me help you fill those empty spots. Let's talk about how many weeks in the year you're going to work. Let's talk about what your marketing budget is. And from there, I can tell you exactly how many registrations we need to get you in front of, what your appointment ratio is. It's going to drive how many appointments I need to help you generate. There's all metrics. It's all right here. 30 minutes and we'll be able to put together a very specific marketing plan for you. Whether or not you want to use that for the remaining of this year, you can call me in November. We can start fresh in January, whatever is best for you, wherever your business is right now. Some states, people are still working those books of business. They're working their current clients, not ready to do marketing. Other states, we've been doing marketing since January. So wherever you are in the process, I would love to be able to sit with you, find out what your goals are. Let's talk about what you're comfortable with, what your budget is, and then I can do a deep dive into your area, find out what's working, what isn't working, what the response rates are, and put a plan of action together for you. So this is my contact information. This is my email address. This is my phone number. And And if anybody has any additional questions, of course, John knows where I am. He and I have worked together forever. So he can direct them all to me, and I'd be happy to sit down and chat with you.
Becky, thank you. Anybody have any questions for Miss Becky? You can put those in the chat, and we'll be happy to take those at this time. Becky, I want to go back and touch on a couple things that you talked about, because I love what that next to the last slide that you were showing about that consultative approach that you guys take to the marketplace, and the fact that you're not just looking to take somebody's money and just throw something out there and, you know, it's the square peg in the round hole. One of the things I like about working with Leading Response, and one of the reasons we drive traffic to you guys, is because of this approach right here, is that you take the time to understand the type of client that the producer wants to get in front of, the type of marketing that they're comfortable doing, and then helping put a plan together around that so that it's not a one size fits all. And it gives them an opportunity to leverage their skill set where it works. And it lets them avoid not having to do that. One of the things that we teach in our Attractional advisor model is to help a producer get the right message to the right person at the right time using the right marketing medium. And one of the things you talked about I thought was very powerful, and I think a lot of folks miss it, is that not everybody is on social media. If you're spending all your time marketing on Facebook and your target audience isn't there, you're invisible to your target audience.
61%, only 61% of our population is on Facebook, and not all of them are every day. Some people check in once a week. Some people are on the weekends. So if you have a campaign that is time sensitive and you are looking for specific seats to fill in a very short period of time, you're going to wait for those people that are only going to pop in on Saturday and Sunday to see that ad. The rest of the time, they're never going to see it. Whereas they have a mailbox and you're skipping that portion of your marketing.
Yep. Yeah. Dan Kennedy is one of my mentors, and you may know Dan because he's kind of the godfather of direct response marketing. And Dan says exactly the same thing. He says, everybody, even homeless people, have a mailing address. They have some way to get physical mail delivered to them in the vast majority of cases. And yet, how often do we ignore that because we think it doesn't work?
Right.
I know the producers that we worked with when the pandemic started, and we helped a lot of our producers shift. I started talking about direct mail, and they're like, oh, what do you mean direct mail? You know, that hadn't worked in years. And exactly what you said, Becky, is the fact that, you know, people are getting inundated. Their inboxes. I saw a stat the other day that the average Gmail account has over 3,000 unread messages in it. And you look at Facebook and people think, well, I'll just post something on Facebook and everybody will see it. They don't understand the algorithm of Facebook only pushes your message out to 6% of your followers. So unless you're paying big bucks to boost a post and do the paid sponsored advertising, only 6% of your followers have the opportunity to see your message. And one of the things we teach in our digital marketing class is how to expand that. But I love the fact that you guys take that multi-pronged approach, and that multi-channel marketing program you guys have put together, I think is just brilliant.
Right. So you've got your option of direct mail. You have your option of digital marketing. You have your direct digital dispatch ads that can mention just simply, hey, we'd like to see you, or it can promote your event. And then we have e-blasts on top of it. So you've got 4 different methods of marketing for an event. If it's an event that you want to market, some people, they're not comfortable doing an event. And that's where appointment setting comes in. Everybody wants an appointment, and everybody wants an appointment just to show up at their office. So you've got that approach to where we can just drive the leads directly to your office if you're not comfortable with the seminar.
Yeah. And if the people don't want to meet in your office, you can train them, or we can train them in how to use Zoom. And people tend to forget this little thing called a telephone still works. And you can pick up the phone and call your clients. They'll take your call. They may screen everybody else's, but if your call's in their phone, they'll take your call. They'll have a conversation with you. I think of one of our producers that when COVID hit, he was a seminar guy. And that's all he does is seminars. And he's like, what am I going to do? And I asked him, I said, do your clients have a phone? Well, yeah. I said, call your clients and let's have a conversation about what's going on with your clients. He wrote 40% more business, had the best year he's had in 3 years in 2020 in the midst of COVID, because he listened to the guidance and advice we gave him. And he went back to some old school technologies, telephone and direct mail, and it worked.
Yep. It's amazing. When we all were forced to stop, everything just stopped. We were forced to go back to the basics of communication, the basics of working the people that we haven't seen really in a really long time. It is amazing how much income came from advisors that stopped and called their clients that they hadn't talked to. I mean, really sat down and talked to. There was a lot of money that got left on that table, and they found it all. So, like you said, there were a lot of guys, and I heard it too. I'm having my best year ever, and that's fantastic. But now coming into this year, I'm thinking that there's probably some people that need to get in front of some new prospects.
Absolutely. You know, when you talked about center of influence marketing and advertising too, and having an opportunity to utilize what you do to spread that message. And I think that's so powerful as well, because when we think about the referral-based market, every individual has about 8 people in their inner circle. And if you can get introduced into those 8 people, every one of those 8 people know 8 more people. So an introduction to 8 becomes 64. Becomes 512, becomes over 5,000 by the time you go 4 layers deep in building a referral-based market. But it starts with engaging with the consumer, having an opportunity to help them solve that initial problem, and then engaging in that relationship marketing on the back end, because once you solve one problem, that client doesn't just have one money problem, they got more than one. And what we discovered in COVID was exactly what you said. When you went back to the clients, their needs changed, their goals changed, their priorities changed. Money needed to move and go somewhere else to accomplish something else. And if you weren't having that conversation with your customer, somebody else was.
That's right. That's right. And that's exactly what's going to take place this year already. A majority of the events that we're holding, people are terrified of the potential for upcoming taxes. And they're looking to do something with their money before legislation rolls out. So if you're not getting in front of new people and you're not talking to them about that coming up, you need to, because your prospects, they're scared.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
You know, we do some things in addition to what you guys do, Becky, is we've actually done, and we teach our producers how to utilize a lot of the tools that you guys put together, but we also teach them how to do on-demand, where they can actually have on-demand video. And we have a number of producers. One of our most powerful messages that we put out, and we've got about 8 unique presentations that those of you that are involved in listening to this today, if you're contracted with Vision, we make those presentations available to you, and all of the different tools and resources we have. But one of those messages is called tax deferred versus tax free. And it talks about how that the ticking time bomb of traditional planning leads to this massive expense in retirement you haven't thought about, and that's paying Uncle Sam all these taxes. And with tax rates looking like they're going to go up for everyone, all of a sudden this tax-free conversation has become extremely valuable. And our producers that are pushing this message out either in a live setting or through an on-demand setting, they're getting inquiries into how do I solve this problem. So I'm so glad that you mentioned that. Yep. Now, one of the last things I do want to mention, Becky, as we wrap up, and I want to say thank you. Number one, for being a strategic partner of ours for a number of years. You guys have been there. You've supported us. You've been at our live events when we've done producer events. You've always been available when we want to do a webinar. So I just want to say thank you to you and the amazing team over at Leading Response for what you do. One of the things that we at Vision have done for the individuals that work with us is we have a marketing reimbursement program that we call Money to Market. And working with Becky and her team isn't free. There is a cost to doing advertising. There is a cost to doing marketing. It is an investment in yourself. If you view it as an expense, shame on you, because it's not an expense if you're good at what you do and you're great at who you are, because it becomes an investment in getting you in front of more qualified prospects. So as you're reaching out to Becky and her team, know that if you're contracted with Vision, your production pays. And I'm going to include a link. I'm going to put Becky's Leading Response website up, and I'm going to include a link to a PDF you can access to see how working with Vision gives you an opportunity to have us reimburse your marketing dollars that you're spending with Leading Response. So that as you go to do an event, you go to get appointments, you write business, we help reimburse those marketing dollars you've spent so you can spend those same dollars over and over.
That's great.
We have one producer in particular I can think of that is on her 5th generation of spending the same marketing dollars she did for a seminar, and she has maxed out her reimbursement, got all of her money back. She's now getting ready to do her 5th event, and she's using the same dollars she started with at the end of 2020.
Wow.
That's the power of what we do here at Vision Advisors, is investing back in the producers that do business with us. Becky, any parting words before we wrap off? And we'll knock off a little early and let everybody redeem a few minutes of their day. And I'm going to go grab a bite to eat. Anything you want to share as we wrap up today?
You know, I just appreciate the opportunity to be here. I mean, it's a great business that we're in. I think women in general, as advisors, we are a very unique niche. We've got women prospects, women in the community. They're sharp. They need the financial advice. And who better to serve them than one of the women that's in this audience? Because we can 100% relate. Sometimes our needs may just be a little bit different. And then you've got your widows, you've got your divorcees. So I would really encourage you to get out there and answer those questions, and let those people know that you're here. Let us help you with your marketing, even if it's just a second opinion on what you're already doing. I'm happy to help. But I appreciate the opportunity to be here today, John.
Absolutely. Becky, thank you so much. And one of the things we do here at Vision, we do coaching. So if you're looking to do presentations, you've never done them, we do speaker coaching. We do help you put together the presentations. A lot of things that Becky can support you with, we come alongside and support them in that as well. We are all about empowering you to see success. And that's one of the reasons we're putting this event on this week, is to let you hear from other successful women that are doing what you're doing, because as iron sharpens iron, we all get better at our craft when we learn what's working. You've had an opportunity to see from Becky today what's working in the area of appointment setting, in seminar marketing, in their multi-channel marketing program. She even mentioned geofencing, and some of you may be going, what in the world's geofencing? Think digital stalking. Through the use of geofencing, you can literally track somebody. I'm sorry, Becky, you want to share on that?
Billboards. We try to stay away from stalking, so we say digital billboards. But yes.
But it's an opportunity for anybody that has a digital footprint. Using geofencing lets you track them in a very unique way, and you literally become, that's a great analogy, you literally become a digital billboard that's constantly showing up every time they're getting on their phone, they're getting on their computer, they're looking at things online. Guess what? You are there. And when you're there, you're not invisible. And now they get to know who you are. And when we teach you how to become an authority figure and an expert, and then you work with Becky and her team to leverage that, what an opportunity for you to upscale your success. So, Ms. Becky, thank you again for the amazing job you did today. Thank you for the support that we have of your organization. Ladies, thank you for joining us for day 2. Now, tomorrow is day 3, and we've got an incredible lineup again tomorrow. Laurie Sherman is going to be visiting with us, and Laurie is going to be talking about having an opportunity to learn how to be involved in doing what we call a women's wealth club. Think B&I for women. And you're going to have an opportunity in the first hour to learn about networking and having an opportunity to use the power of networking to get in front of qualified prospects and to do so on a favorable basis, but also how to build an incredible referral network within your local community by partnering with your peers that work in other industries and mutually sharing your clients. That's going to be a powerful first hour. In the second hour, we're going to have Susie Bills, who's going to be talking about a couple of different opportunities that she brings to the table. One is in leveraging the power of social media to build a following of raving fans. Now, who doesn't want a following of raving fans? Because if you can get people following your content on social media, every one of those is a lead. It's an opportunity to engage them. And then Susie's also going to spend some time talking about the number one bottleneck in your business. And that oftentimes is you, and some tips to how to get that bottleneck out of the way so that you can truly scale your business to see success. So two very powerful speakers that we're going to have with us tomorrow. So again, if you've got the link to our summit and you know another woman advisor that would benefit from hearing what we're going to be sharing, please share the link with them. We would love to have them be involved, hear from these amazing women, and have an opportunity to grow and upscale their practice and better serve the clients they're serving every single day. I'm John Terry with Vision Advisors, and I want to say thank you for joining us and have a great rest of your day.